Okay, we finally made it. The last episode of Volume 5. The culmination of every mistake from this garbage pile of a season finally adds up to this moment. And here we go, let's dive in. Adding on to what I said for last episode, Blake goes back to confronting Adam, and it feels like a weird step backwards, right? Like, we were just here. She punched him, but now we're back to them doing that back and forth thing again? Like I said, I really think they goofed up with her plotline here, with weird script changing shenanigans. What's worse is Blake's one-liners aren't as good this time either, and this unfortunately feels weird next time Blake runs into Adam. She's cool, calm, putting Adam in his place, but next volume she's running around cowering in a panic. This moment in hindsight feels like false advertising. I thought Blake had grown to this moment, where she can face Adam strongly, but then they just strip that away from her later. Keeping things on this episode though, it's super dumb and lame how Adam just runs away. Not only was their quick little fight moment lazy looking, but this escape was stupid. They could have easily chased him down, and Blake's lame excuse obviously is just the writers trying to come up with some justification to their lazy decision to have the characters not do the cool things they should be easily able to do. A victim to their own writing decisions, apparently. They wanted Blake to confront Adam and give him a good, satisfying wallop. This is meant to be the end of the menagerie arc after all, but they also didn't want them to actually fight Adam, and Adam has to escape. So then why have them square up against Adam again? You wrote this. You could have written anything here. Here, let me fix it for you. After Blake knocks over Adam, she runs over into the fray to help Weiss and Ruby at the end of last episode. Rather than having her weirdly run back and forth between these two scenes, show Adam getting arrested, but then later we see a trail of dead officers and Blake realizes that Adam has escaped while she was teaming back up with her friends. I don't know. Anything other than this? The villains in this episode just give up, and it's so dumb. Hazel's screaming is weird. Them all slowly walking closer to the heroes is really goofy, especially how Emerald is walking diagonally, kind of like leading towards the front of Hazel. Later we cut away from the villains for a bit, then Ruby's just like, okay, you give up now, and even though they all seem perfectly healthy still, they actually do just give up. Everyone stops to gawk at Yang, and none of these three geniuses think they should open fire on all the morons looking away from them. So the maiden fight in the last episode was what I called the final boss. So what's the big climactic moment for this episode? Well, Yang and her mommy chatting a bit, of course. This feels like such a slap in the face after their bland conversation earlier in the volume. Oh, now you suddenly have a bunch of stuff you want to talk about? Where was all that energy back when Raven was monologuing about things we all already knew? Carrie has gone on record describing this as a fight with words. Well, given how toothless and wandering the fights in this volume have been as a whole, I'm not surprised Carrie seems to think this lazy back and forth conversation would count as a fight. It's the return of talking at each other.
Crow and Oz told me how the maiden powers were transferred. She would have had to have trusted you if you were in her final thoughts.
I'm sure they told you plenty, and you just sat and obeyed.
So this is actually a great example of what I really mean by that. Raven is taking a random, unimportant element of Yang's prior statement to focus on. Yang was really talking about the prior maiden, but instead, Raven talks about Yang learning new things from Crow and Ozpin. Yang is trying to direct the conversation in a certain direction, but her conversation partner is going in a different direction. And this is true for the whole scene. And it's not being played up like Raven is purposefully trying to withhold information or misdirect Yang because she's trying to get away with lying or something. It really just seems like Miles and Carrie have never actually had a real conversation with a human being before. Yang is taken aback that her bandit leader mother, who abandoned her as a baby and had already kidnapped one of Yang's closest friends, was willing to murder the prior Spring Maiden. Yang, I think you might just be stupid.
No matter how much training I put her through, she never learned. And with those powers, she would have been hunted her entire life.
Which is it, Mom? Are you merciful? Or are you survivor?
Both? Obviously, Raven just said the Spring Maiden wasn't learning and would have been hunted. If Raven kept her in the bandit tribe, that also means she and her tribe would have been targeted too. It's not like Raven was going to let this incredibly powerful force just wander out of her camp or anything. See, it's a perfect example of the writers wanting there to be a conflict for the conversation, but they have nothing substantial to focus on. Too afraid to actually have Raven, waifu bait fan favorite, actually do something unforgivable. They like her design and want to bring her back later, so instead Yang has to descend into a morally righteous twee child. Yang has to make up random arguments to get angry about, because any actual introspection of Raven would show that there is nothing to her as a character. Then randomly, Yang suddenly makes it about her mommy abandonment issues. Like seriously, it comes out of nowhere.
It's not that simple. You don't know me. You don't know what I've been through.
You're right. I don't know you. I only know the Raven Dad told me about.
Again, it's not a conversation. They're just talking at each other. It makes it sound like the characters have no attention span.
You don't know the first thing about strength. You turn your back on people.
Yeah, you'd never do that.
We told her.
By going behind our backs?
Does that mean you let her escape?
Robin is on our side.
We didn't know that for sure.
You run away when things get too hard.
Yeah, you would never ever do that, right?
Come on, everyone, out!
You put others in harm's way instead of yourself.
And Yang wouldn't ever do that because she knows what real strength is.
This way!
God, the blocking in the scene is terrible. Yang lazily doing circles around Raven for no reason. Her pathetic little point. It feels so scripted. Like when you're watching an amateur film and you can see the actors trying too hard to hit their marks. It's weird seeing something like that in animation. It's really not satisfying. The whole conversation. Nothing they say matters or leaves any impact. Raven becomes a pathetic crying baby because the teenager called her smelly, then just runs away. Like, why did you even show up? You didn't fight Crow and you didn't get the relic. Bernal died for no reason, you stupid loser. The animation sucked, their voice acting is emotionless and empty, the perfect finale for an equally soulless volume. The best part of the episode, Emerald's semblance. It's cool. It's a cool way to tie into that imagery from the opening. And this time, I actually think the animation here was a lot more impressive than what we see from the opening. Playing with the colors of the scene and having our characters finally get fully caught up. Now knowing the face of the villain they've decided to fight against. It's memorable and a cool, stretchy way of playing around with the model's limitations. Really, really awesome stuff. And gives us a glimpse of what the potential power level Emerald has. The worst part of the episode, this is gonna sound so dumb, it's RWBY collapsing.
Are you okay?
You should know by now, I really hate her voice. This sigh is earblood to me. It just itches that part of my brain that pisses me off. Also, like, drama baby, why are you making such a big deal? You didn't do anything all fight. You headbutt one guy once. Heck, you spent a huge chunk of the fight taking a nap. Don't be acting all exhausted. This was just an excuse to remind the audience who the main character is supposed to be. Shut up, RWBY. This is the second worst episode of the volume. The lack of a proper fight already made this pretty lame compared to the rest of the finale, but Yang and Raven's talk does not work as a proper climax for the volume, making the episode feel pointless and empty. On top of that, a lot of the conclusions for the episode were really not satisfying. Adam getting to run away away because Blake just gives up. The White Fang is disbanded now, ending a multi-volume long political conflict virtually off screen. Yang's beef with Blake running away gets ignored so they can get their group hug. Oh, we only got a few seconds left. Just make the girls make up. Who cares? If we want, we can just retcon this plotline later in Volume 6, right? The villain's escape was weird. They kind of just stop fighting for no reason. Lionheart gets unceremoniously killed because, I don't know, the writers were bored of him already. Volume 5 stinks. It smells. It smells really bad. A stinky, stanky, bad volume. Truly the worst RWBY has ever been as a show. A dark, boring, annoying, stupid, ugly stain on its lineage as a show. 14 episodes long that really feel like it could have been trimmed down to 5 episodes max. In the long run, this volume stands as a monument of how little you can trust Rooster Teeth as a company. If they were willing to crap out a volume this obviously low quality, then clearly they're taking their own show for granted. So obviously willing to take the laziest way out if they think they could still make more money off of you, the viewer. Thank God Rooster Teeth shut down. Good riddance.
Alright, let's tell each other a secret about ourselves. I'm gonna go first. I hate you.
Shout out to my $10 patrons. You're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Noah Perkins, Sunny Shy, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Isaiah, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Holly, Boy Howdy Boy, Jacob, Ben Sketchbook, Rain, Omega Fighter, Trash, Wild Pilot, Josh, Twisty, Juan, Bunkin Duncan, Lycan99, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, Hut Mutt Butt, Cloudy Days, The Enigma, C1 Trooper, Sean, Primo Rune, Steve, and Overhypen. So yeah, it's over. The beast is dead. It's done. I finished Volume 5. Oh my goodness, what a crazy one. It's so hard going through it. I really hate it. I hope you had fun with this series. Like I said, there's a playlist of everything all in order. I hope you had fun. Next time I'll be getting to Volume 6, I guess. Let me know what you think about the whole volume. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.